In the name of Allah, today we will speak about PHP arrays. In last session, we spoke about PHP part 2 functions. Functions part 2. That we spoke about the parameterized functions and passing by value and passing by differences. In today's session, we will continue our PHP lessons toward the PHP arrays. So what's array? Anyone? What's array? Ibrahim, what's array? Multiple values storing in a single variable. Yeah, that's correct. So we'll come on arrays. In arrays, we have lots of types. Which types we have? Indexed array, associative array, creating arrays, accessing array items, updating arrays, adding array items, remove array items, sorting arrays, so multidimensional arrays, and array functions. These are the arrays that we will learn. So what are arrays? An array stores multiple values in one single variable. An array stores multiple values in one single variable. As example, let's we worked on previous sessions too many times that we're storing multiple values in a single variable. That's an array. But in PHP, you need to define array if you are using the indexed array. You must define the key array and then store the values. And also in previous session, we had an array parameter for our functions with three trailer dots. With trailer dots, we are storing an array to as a parameter of our function. Then we access as array on that. So what's an array? An array is a special variable that can hold many values. Array is a special variable that can hold many values under a single name, and you can access the values by referring to an index number or name. So as we have two types variables, index variables, one is the indexed arrays, another is the associative array. So you can access by index number or by name. When you are accessing index number, this it means that you are using an indexed array. But when you are accessing trap names, actually you are using the key value pair or associative arrays. So let's discuss a little bit more on that. So one speech array types, we have three main types. So multidimensional is the same, but in general we have two types: indexed arrays and associative arrays. So what are also indexed arrays? Arrays with a numeric index. Arrays with a numeric index. Another is arrays with named keys. Associative one is arrays with named keys. And multidimensional arrays containing one or more arrays. One array containing more than one array. That are multidimensional array. As we had nested for loops, nested if else. So in the same way we have multidimensional arrays. So how we can work with arrays? Why we should use arrays? Sometimes we need to store lots of data of the same data type. The same data type in a single variable. On that time we need to store it on an array and access using that array. And also when you're working with databases, when we retrieve data, we store the retrieved data on an array and then we access that array using that array. On that time that we use associative arrays, not the indexed array, because the keys are the column names and the values are the records that we stored on that column names. Safiullah and Yusuf, you are busy, brothers. You too busy. So in this tutorial, we work on these topics: creating arrays, accessing arrays, updating arrays, adding array items, removing array items, and sorting arrays. These are general topics that we learn in almost all programming languages because we have arrays in every language. In every language, we have arrays, and we can do creating, accessing, updating, adding, or removing items, and sorting arrays. So the first thing is array items. What's an array items? And array items can be any of data type, but one array should have only one data type. But in associative arrays and objects, we have multiple values, multiple data types according to multiple keys and values. So the most common are strings and numbers, integer and float, but array items can also be objects, function, or even arrays. Inside one array, we can have multiple arrays too. But commonly, we store string and numbers in arrays like integer, floats, strings, chars, and others. So you can have different data types in the same array. In the same array, you can have multiple data types, not only single data type. You can have multiple one. Like this. This is an multidimensional array. One array contains text, another array is the numbers, and we store that as a function. We store that as a function. This one is the texts, and this one is the number arrays that we store as a keys. Arrays are we store the array have text, number, another array, and a function. You can have multiple data types, not only single data type. Why multiple data types? Because PHP is a loosely typed language. Yeah? In a loosely typed, we have a dynamic typing, not static typing. When we have dynamic typing, it means you can store any type of data. That's not important. Why? Because once we assign a variable, then we can change the variable until the variable is a constant. If it's a constant, we can change. And also, if we did casting, if we do casting, then we can change. Everything we store in even in other data types, it will change to the casted data type. And data type I casted. We already taught about the casting in previous sessions. You can watch the recordings that we have already on our class and shared with you guys. So another type is array functions. Array functions. We have lots of functions. We have lots of functions. As we said in functions lesson, we had more than 1,000 functions. We had more than 1,000 functions in different categories. That's available in reference page. You can check that. So as we said in that, in real strength of power or the PHP or the power of PHP comes from its functions, like counting array items. How many items does we have? That's a count item. So let's see. There's a course, and the course has 3 items. Then you can use the count on course. The functions on arrays. You can use the functions on arrays. So let me open my I, I code editor. So opening another project because this project comes from another university. That's Flutter. htdocs and class project. So let's define an array. How we can define an array? Anyone? Defining an array. Multiple values. So we need a variable. My array. Any name that you can. Then the function of array. Then putting the items like the maybe Volvo as the dearest. Then comma to separate the items. Comma to separate items BMW like this. Toyota or anything. So these are the arrays. Your comma another item. These are items and the count starts from 0. The count starts from 0. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. And the last one Mercedes. So now you can count this array. You can count this array. Let me do a PR because PR is required. And then call the count function. Count. Then putting the array. My array. My array. The value for count is my array. Now I can access that. Localhost test form. Now it says we have 4 items. We have 4 items. 1, 2, 3, 4. But the counting starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. 0, 1, 2, 3 items. But the actual items are 4 because we count from 1, yeah? But the index start from 0. Humans counting from 1, but machines counting from 0. You can do lots of the same way functions on arrays. You can count, you can sum, you can sort, and lots of other things. You are not restricted using only some of the functions, but you can use lots of functions. So you can see on the PHP array reference functions, there is lots of functions. You can either array, arrange keys, arrange string, column, combine, count, difference association, and lots of them you can have. You will not going on them. You will only focus on some of them. The first type of PHP arrays are indexed arrays. Indexed arrays and indexed arrays, each item has an index number. If you see, we don't have keys, yeah, but we have only values. We have only values. We store only values. This is an indexed array. They are stored on index numbers. Index numbers is starting from 0. It says that by default, the first item has index 0, the second item index 1, and so on, up to how many items we have. If you check this or var dump the data type, it will return you the items and also the indexed numbers items. As you know, the var dump is for what? Anyone? We have worked a lot on showing the data type. Yeah, thank you. You remember it. Sure. Var dump shows the data type. Now let's see. It says we have an array of 4 items. Index 0 has a string that has 5 characters, and that's Volvo. Index 1 has a string. Let me zoom this for better readability. If you check, we have an array with 4 items. We have an array with 4 items. Index 0 has an string data type and has a Volvo value. Index 1 has BMW, and index 2 has Toyota, index 3 has Mercedes. From 1 to 3, it's 8 numbers. There are 4 numbers, yeah, 4 items. So, accessing indexed arrays, you can just pass the index number. You can just pass the index number like this. We are not counting that, but let me do another dot here and add another break line for better readability. We are not counting. We want to access some port. We want to access some port only. So how we can that? We can do the dollar my array, then brackets, then putting brackets. Don't forget just brackets and put the index number like 1, 2, 3. My latest index is 3. We are not accessing traf keys. We are accessing traf index numbers. Now if you see this the index number 3 is Toyota. So no, the index number 3 is Mercedes. The index number 3 is Mercedes. Let me comment this because it makes some noise here. The index number 3 is Mercedes. You can access only to trap the index numbers. You must know the index. And also you can access the strings trap this. The strings trap this one. How you can do? Let's see my string. My string. Hello. Hello world. Hello world. Then if you want to display this like my string, I think I taught that previous sessions, but I don't remember. You can access a string characters using the same way as you do on indexed array. If you put this, now it prints only h. You can put any number inside that, like 6. It will print anything if that's on position of number 6. Actually, this index number 6 and the word number, the character number 7 in our countings, but in computer counting, it's index number 6. The same way as we do on indexed arrays, we do on a string arrays. In a strings, we can access data like this. So, this is an example, and here you can check. And also, you can change the values, not the actual definition value, but the usage value. But the usage value, putting some records on that. If you want to change that, index number 6, like this. So let me do on the array instead of the string. Dollar my array, index number 2, put something new, like change it. Change it. Then you can access that my array. my array. Oh, fuck. Number 2. Yeah, our number 2 is Toyota. Yeah, our number 2 is we change it to change it. Now we define it to change it. Instead of Toyota, now it will show us the change it. Why? Because we changed it this one. We assign it a new value. We, not here, but when the compiler executes this one, it will not change. But then when compiler executes, it will change it. And also, you can loop trap an indexed array using the for each loop, as we said in the for each. You can loop and show them. You can do that for each $my array has my. Then you can echo them echo $my. You can echo them. Trap that. Now it's showing them. Volvo, BMW, change it, and Mercedes. Since we didn't put any break line, you can put a break line to for better readability. Break line is for better readability. Like this. Change it, Volvo, BMW, change it. Why change it? One, because we have printed this in here. We have printed this here. Now we can loop using the for each loop, as we said on the for each loop lesson also. That we use for each loop for accessing the array items, object items. And also index numbers, you can check them, trap index numbers 1, 2, 3, and also assign them. And if you use the array push function to the new item will get the index number 3. The array push is a function that inserts after the last item that we have. That inserts after the last item we have. As you see here, array push first. You want to check? Push that. We can't want to push that like that. My array pushing means putting on that. Putting on that. How you can do this? You must write firstly array, then push. Then your array name, my array. Then what you want to push? What you want to push? Like new item. New item. Now it will push that. Now it will push that value. Now it says new item has arrived after the last item. If you now war dump this array, it will show us full items. It will show us full items because we use the array push to add items. Sometimes we need to add some records from our database, trap forms. Then we need to push that. We need to push that. But it says, but if you have an array with random index number like this, if you got a random numbers on your array items, then that's another side things. Then it says that, and if you use the array push to add a new item, what will be next number of the new item? It will change to something else if you have the same way. This one is as a your homework to do a research because it comes as a question. If you have an index number like this with different index numbers, you have an array, focus on the question for your homework. You have an array that has different index numbers, different values, not repetitive. It has different values. Then you use the array push. What will be the index number of the new item? This is the question for you for next session. So the next topic is associative arrays. PHP, I think it's enough. You will come on that for tomorrow. Any question on arrays? Any points? Inayat, Yoz, Yunus, did you learn something today? What you taught today? What was the topic? Which type of array we spoke? So come on the board and explain something on arrays.